angels, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am going to be applying for college. Let's soak that in for a little bit. I'm applying to college. It's honestly crazy. I'm going to be talking about everything I did before applying, after applying, and all the good stuff, and things that you need to know when applying for college as well. I'm going to talk about my experiences and all the schools that I applied to. So make sure you guys subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss another one of my videos, and you'll be part of the Angels team. And let's just get straight on into today's video because it's crazy, honestly. So let's talk about things you need before applying. The very first thing I did was have all my transcripts from my school. They use Parchment, which is like a online thing, and you just request your orders and they give it to you. I also wrote a personal statement just talking about like why college is so important to me and experiences that have shaped why I want to go to college. So that's another thing to think about. Also have any test scores ready, like ACTs, SATs, AP test. All of that would be good because then you can just upload it all together. Another thing is having a resume. This one's kind of optional, but it's cool to have it's more of an academic resume. So just kind of talk about all the activities you've been into. And then a recommendation. A lot of colleges want this, but it honestly depends on where you're going. That's why I put parentheses optional. So just think about that when you're applying and have someone that's going to give you a good application recommendation. So in this video, I did not show me applying to Rockhurst or Avila, but I did do that. And Rockhurst, I think, asked, it was like there was an option for test optional. Avila asked for my test scores and then you can send them after, but I never sent them. So yeah, Rockhurst was probably the most easy because they just give you like a step-by-step, but I forgot to film me doing that. So just know I applied to Rockhurst and Avila. Rockhurst is my number one choice, like that's what I want to go, and Avila is probably at the bottom. So keep that in mind when watching this video. So I applied to umkc. This was the first one I applied to the day that I was doing most of my applications. Rockhurst and Avila, I did it like on a random weekday. These I did on a Sunday. I remember that like very distinctly. umkc, I don't know. I feel like it was not on my radar until this year because all of my teachers were telling me like apply to umkc because it's right across the street from Rockhurst. Like if you like Rockhurst, you might like umkc, and I just never thought about it. So when applying, it has you set up an account, and then from there it's just really personal questions. So I would make sure you know any information about your parent or guardian as well. Like they ask degrees and like how much schooling they have, which they really take that into consideration when like admitting you or rejecting you, which fingers crossed doesn't happen. They also take into consideration like your nationality. So like I'm Hispanic, so I had to put I'm Hispanic, and then I put all the languages I spoke, which is English and Spanish. I do speak Spanish at home, so I did that as well. And then after that, I feel like umkc was very easy because they didn't really ask for anything. It was very similar to Rockhurst in the sense of like you put in your personal information, and then after you submit everything, they ask for you to submit your transcripts and your ACT scores after you've submitted the actual application, which I thought was very interesting. The only thing is that in umkc they ask how many years you've taken like English, math, social studies, science, those types of things, and then foreign languages. So keep that in mind as well. I think most schools like you to have 4 years of math and social studies, I believe, and then they don't like 3 years of science, 3 years of other things. And then they also asked about like what I'm taking this year. But again, you submit your transcripts afterwards, which I thought was very convenient. So it could be different if you're applying to like an Ivy, because I'm not applying to an Ivy like Harvard or Brown. I'm literally just applying to my local schools. umkc, I didn't even mention what I want to study. Oh my goodness, I want to be a Spanish teacher. I definitely want to get my master's. It's between a high school teacher or a college professor. My thing with that is like we all know that high school teachers don't really make money, and like I want to be financially stable for myself. So I think that I'm leaning more towards being like a college professor. It just seems so fun. Like you just teach and that's it. Like you don't have to worry about contacting parents and doing all this stuff because like it's just like they're adults. So That's what I've been thinking about lately. So I really like UMKC because they have like this 4+1 plan, whereas like you do 4 years of your bachelor's, but then they also part of the program is your master's. So whatever financial aid you have, it goes towards the master's degree, which I thought was very, very interesting. So like if you have a full ride, it also goes towards that master's degree. So then you pretty much just end up graduating with a master's degree. For me, I'm going to a community college right now, so I'm doing my senior year and my community college, and I'm pretty much knocking out my first year of college. So next year I'll go in as like a sophomore, quote unquote. So that's something to take into consideration. But overall, UMKC was not on my radar, but now I feel like after talking to like a representative, it's number two. So Rockhurst is still one, and then UMKC is two. And here is me submitting my application. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm doing it. But yeah, overall, UMKC was pretty simple. So let's move on to the next school. Next, we have Park University. Park was probably one of the first schools I've ever toured, and I loved it. I really did. The only school that I didn't like, I'm going to talk about later in this video. I toured Northwestern Missouri State as well, and I didn't like it. And then I also toured Mizzou, and I liked it, but I didn't like see myself going there. Like Missouri University, which is a really big school, it's just like known as a party school, and I just didn't see. I don't know. I really liked the campus, but I didn't see myself going there. Park, on the other hand, was one of the first schools I ever went to, and I loved it. So Rockhurst was also one of those. So before applying to any college, my list was definitely Rockhurst number one, Park number two, and then UMKC and Avila were like on the lower end of this, like the list that I had mentally. So when it comes to like money, let's talk about that for a second. Park is like $13,000 a year, but they have a lot of scholarships, and if you want to be like a teacher, they have scholarships for that. So that's one thing. You can apply for their competitive scholarships, but I'm like, I don't even know if I'll win those. So I'm still contemplating on that. I mean, they're not due for another couple weeks, so I should probably get on that. But if I'm, want to go to the school, I don't know. We'll see. Park is one of those that I felt like everything was so simple. The only thing I'm salty about is that I had to pay for the application fee. I paid $38. I was like, what in the world? And I couldn't find like a waiver or anything. But I'm like, I didn't like paying. That's the only reason I'm salty about Park. But they were literally so simple. Like they sent me an email after I applied saying, please send your transcripts and everything. This one was probably the fastest one because I was just filling information about myself and then I called it a day. So overall, I think one thing to just keep in mind, like I said before, is just have all your information about yourself ready and prepared. They didn't even ask about my personal statement. They didn't ask for a recommendation letter. Like they asked for nothing except transcripts. So Park, we are considering it. They had the degree, the major I want, the program I want. So let's see. But yeah, Park was super simple, and it's kind of close to my house compared to Rockhurst and UMKC. So something to keep in mind. Fun little story about William Jewell College is that I don't want to go there. I was merely applying to the school because I keep hearing that you should apply to at least 5 schools, because even if you have your dream school, which mine is Rockhurst, you should apply for these schools. So what happened was I'm filling out all this information about myself. It was very weird how they formatted their application. I remember just being very, very confused and like putting in random stuff for different slots. I did not know what I was doing. I'm going to be so honest. Then it took me to a page that was like, answer 4 short essay prompts. And I'm like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Because I was like, I don't want to go to a school. I don't care if it has like the degree program I want or whatever. I went to a college campus. This is one thing I'm going to tell everyone. Go on campus tours. And if it feels like you want to be there, then take that into consideration. Does it feel like home? Does it feel like, yes, you see yourself going, like walking every day to your classes or driving there every day and going to class? William Jewell was not that for me. I walked on that campus and I was like, ugh, like what is this? Like I don't see the hype. I was like, I don't know. I did not want to go to William Jewell. So that is one thing that I feel like is so important. How does that college make you feel? So let's make a little list of what you should do when applying to college. First thing you need to look at is like, where is it? Obviously, do you want it to be in state, out of state, out of the country? Like, where do you want to study? Then obviously before then you need to figure out if you actually want to go to college, but I'm assuming if you're watching this video then you do. But then after you do that, then figure out your major, or I guess if you don't know your major, then that one doesn't really apply to you. But make sure they have a degree program you like. If they don't have a degree program you like, or the degree program, like I said, I had people telling me to apply to multiple different colleges, and some of the colleges that I was looking at didn't even have secondary education as an option. So that's something to keep in mind. They didn't, or some of them, like Avila, didn't even have a Spanish program. Like they just had secondary education but not Spanish. So that's like a deal breaker. That's why Avila is like last on the list. So my list is Rockhurst, my dream school. It's number 1. Number 2 is kind of iffy. It's either UMKC or Park. It really just depends on how much money they're willing to give me. Like that's how it's gonna go, based off of what college I go to. And then the last one on the list is obviously Avila, and then I didn't even apply to William Jewell, but William Jewell would have been number 5. Like they would have been low on the ranks. Rockhurst and UMKC are like 35 minutes away from my house, so it's a further drive, but they're across the street from each other, and they're like in the downtown area, so there's gonna be traffic there. Park is, I think, either 20 or 30 minutes from my house, but I remember going on that campus and being like, oh my gosh, I love this one. So I haven't been to UMKC, so I definitely need to do that. But another thing you need to keep in mind so here are some things to keep in mind when you're applying. Does it have the major you want? Do you feel like you see yourself going to class every day? How big is the school? How much money are they gonna give you? That is a big deal breaker. You need to know who's paying for your college. Is it you? Is it your parents or guardians? Is it your grandma? Like, figure that out. And then from there, apply to all the colleges you want. So let me know what you thought of this video. Was it helpful? Was it not? I do want to do a college decisions video, so make sure you guys subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss another one of my videos. And stay tuned until next Sunday's video, because I promise you guys it will be an amazing one. Bye guys.